nice little niche for itself in commercial software
Hmm.
services. But over the last year, it has effectively rebranded itself in the markets as a born-again AI startup complete with the investor exuberance that comes with it. This really came to a head in their most recent earnings when they announced that they had almost $500 billion in backlogged orders from AI companies desperate to utilize its expanding infrastructure. It's basically that number
I don't
alone
know
that has
why this
fueled the
brush
surge in
always
global
goes to
software
fucking
The Lock in
prices.
a Stack
'Everything
$70%.
says,
else in the financials were
eating has made me tired.
underwhelming at best.
Then
But
stop
that
eating.
didn't matter
Why
because
eat at all?
big numbers go up and people are hoping this could be
I
the
mean, you
next
might have to
NVIDIA
cook,
for
but you don't have
everybody
to
who
eat
missed
it.
out on NVIDIA. But there are three big problems with that absolutely massive number.
Probably
The
means
first is
maybe
the simple
it was
fact that
too
we ran
carb
out of
heavy or
wood burn,
something.
which is
You
that
get that
this and
sleepy
is almost
comatose effect.
certainly unsustainable. Generative AI does have some useful applications, and in the long run, we are going to figure out more
Temptation.
ways to integrate it into everyday technologies. But $455 billion is more than 2% of US GDP, and that's in just one set of contracts from one company. When you are spending that much money,
The
handy
Lock in
little
a Stacko
technologies
says,
are not good enough.
damn, maybe I
It
shouldn't
genuinely
say that
needs to
on Twitch.
radically reshape the world in one way or another.
What'd
And
you
if it's not the
say?
best, at least the analysts will be able to see where the money is going. The big players are getting more and more desperate
Yeah,
for proof the
well,
scale of disruption is
I'm
possible,
not gonna
and
allow
everybody
it.
else is getting more and more skeptical. This was covered in a video last month, so I don't want to retread too much ground here.
You gotta be more
Generally, the
creative.
increasing scale of AI investments is not even the biggest problem with these
The
Oracle
Lock in a Stacko
numbers.
says,
The bigger problem is that
well then I
later on
gotta
in that
eat
same
sometime
financial
s.
letter, the CEO notes that basically all of this money is coming from just
Meh.
4 contracts with 3 individual clients. So even if those contracts were split evenly, that means
Meh.
these clients will be spending more than $150 billion each on effectively renting a data center. The logical question is, why would companies with that much money not just build their own data centers?
The
Well,
Lock in a
that's the
Stacko
third
says,
problem. The
I will
biggest
not
big
accept
client
meth.
chasing these
I
numbers
deny
is
it.
OpenAI, who has
Lightest
announced
Meh.
Bright
plans to
says,
spend over
And I'll ban
hi
$200
you.
billion
Rio.
with Oracle
Hey,
over the next 4 years.
bright.
The
Lightest
problem
Bright
is,
says,
OpenAI
no audio.
doesn't have
That's
$200 billion.
bad.
To even have a chance of
The
being
Lock in
able
a
to
Stacko
fulfill this
says,
commitment, they are going to
do it
need
then.
a lot more
Do
investor
it then.
money. Fortunately, and completely coincidentally, at around the same time last week, NVIDIA announced that it will be investing $100 billion
Testing.
into OpenAI.
Testing.
This cash will be used to help
Lightest
develop their
Bright
compute
says,
infrastructure through
I
deals
fear
like the
I'm out
one they
getting
have made
food
with
and I'm in the car
Oracle.
with
With
family.
Oracle is building its compute
Oh.
infrastructure by
Lightest Bright
buying
So
says,
only
billions of dollars
you
worth
are
of
face up
then.
NVIDIA
Loki.
GPUs. So, yeah. All they are doing is effectively
I
turning
feel
outside
like I
investor
sound like
money
a
into just
mumbling
fund revenue on the
buffoon.
next company over, which is
Lightest Bright
making these
says,
businesses look more
wanted to
promising
say
than they
hi since
really
I
are
saw
to me.
notif.
Oracle stock price.
The
Hmm.
Lock in a Stacko says, you sound nice Rio.
I can't trust you. I'm trying to go off my actual YouTube audio.
The Lock in a Stacko
Hmm.
says, I meant to say like Rio but both work lol.
Huh? What?
Lightest Bright says, I agree with Taco, you sound nice.
You can't even hear me, sir. Wait, I am ultimately so very
The
tempted
Lock
to
in a Stacko
mess with
says,
these
the
goddamn
crowd
settings.
agrees.
I shouldn't, though.
The Lock in a Stacko says, you got drawing to do.
Temptation.
The Lock in a Stacko says, a goal even, or her things later.
Alright, well, I'm gonna trust you that my audio is not absolute shit. And I will continue to doodle. Dooba-dooba-dooba-doo.
The Lock in a Stacko says, good.
Okay.
Price because everything else in the financials were underwhelming at best. But that didn't matter because big numbers go up and people are hoping this could be the next NVIDIA for everybody who missed out on NVIDIA.
Basically, I
There are
gotta
three problems
fuck
with
with
that
the
absolutely
ears a
massive
bit.
number. The first is the simple
Lightest
fact that
Bright
we need to
says,
And I
get out
gotta
of the way first,
you
return.
can
which
trust
is
me
that
as I can
this
totally
spending
hear
is
you.
probably
Botrix says.
Unsustainable.
Botrix has correctly joined the
Generative AI
channel.
does have some useful
Just nothing.
applications, and in the long run, we are going to figure out more ways to integrate it into everyday technologies. But $455 billion is more than 2% of US GDP, and that's in just one set of contracts from one company.
The Lokinistako says.
That much money,
Also BTW, I just get tired after I eat all the time, just how I be.
Yeah, well, then probably something wrong with what you're eating. Wrong with when you're eating. Answers for everything.
The Lokinistako says. Especially if I'm already a little tired.
Man, if you're already so tired all the time, why can't you fucking sleep?
Stabilizing scale of AI investments is not even the biggest problem with these Oracle numbers. The bigger problem is that later on in that same financial letter, the CEO...
Don't worry, I will die being the person that hears a problem and cannot accept that there isn't a solution.
The Lokinistako says. Probably not. It's worse when I don't eat for long periods.
Then don't eat forever and sleep.
Not just build their own data centers. Well, that's the third problem. The biggest new client juicing these numbers is OpenAI, who has announced plans to spend over $300 billion with Oracle over the next 5 years.
The Lokinistako says. There might be a solution, but THR solution is worse than the problem.
This commitment, they are going to need a lot more investor money. Fortunately, and completely coincidentally, at around the same time last week...
Right, look, it's not even that bad. I just gotta finish all these little things and it'll be a pretty acceptable drawing.
But Oracle is building its compute infrastructure by buying billions of dollars worth of NVIDIA GPUs.
The Lokinistako says. You do seem pretty damn close to done.
Outside investor money into deferred revenue on the next company over, which is making these businesses
Yeah.
more promising than they really are to even more outside
I'll aim
investors.
to keep him doing good art.
Say a bigger number for a while now, to the point where
I could
last
just
week,
do things. I just need to do things. If I could just do things, then life will get done.
This is all
You know?
really dumb, but it should only be a risk to the people investing money into these businesses.
The Lokinistako
and they do
says.
need to do their own due
Good, you have
diligence.
admitted your
The real
art is
problem for
good.
everybody else is what they are doing with
That's
these
like, it's just,
valuations
it's
when
not
they achieve
horrible
them.
today,
So it's time to learn how
specifically.
money works to find out
Not
what Oracle and the big
annoying me
Ellison are really
horrifically.
up to. Oracle and its founder Larry Ellison have been extremely wealthy for a very
It's
long
better
time.
than some and worse than others, and
Neither of them have been afraid of
it could be
putting their money where their
improved, and etc, etc,
mouth is.
etc.
Dollars every year on
I mean, I don't know, it feels like the
market.
buying
Ellison
market is
himself
like
was one of the
really
biggest spenders from
weird.
last year's election. Even
Can't
he
sell
was
shit.
more
Lokinistako
vocal
says.
about it than Elon Musk.
There will always be reasons to be
Senior executives from the
uncomfortable,
company, including
so
its
choose the
outgoing
best
CEO,
outcome
have
option.
also held key positions within the current government.
Dunno.
Like all good philanthropy, the alleged return on investment from these donations has been staggering. On a totally unrelated note, TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, must sell off its US operations in a deal that has been heavily monitored by the government because of the sensitive user information and influence the platform controls. To facilitate this transfer, Oracle has been selected and approved as the company that will handle the new platform using its
The Lokinistako says.
This is
I
going to
wonder
give
why
it
people
influence over
aren't
the
buying.
algorithm and access to that same sensitive user data.
I don't know if I just need to find a new audience or... I don't know shit. Oh, you know, I can't justify buying any new toys anymore. I want new toys, but I can't justify shit.
The details of this acquisition are still incredibly vague and opaque, but almost every independent estimate says that the $14 billion valuation put on the social media platform is well below what it should trade at. Now, only the American operation is
The
being forced to
Lokinistako
sell
says.
here, but even still,
You must do the goals.
comparing it to a competitor like Instagram, based on sales within this market alone, it
Yeah.
should conservatively be worth 10 times more. Now, political lobbying potentially and totally coincidentally resulting in a lucrative government deal might not come as a huge surprise to you anymore. But, well...
Say the line, Bart!
It gets worse. The Ellison family have used their wealth and influence to move far beyond one single tech company. Now, I have to give a warning that this next part involves looking at the world's most punchable face, although nothing I can say can truly prepare you. Larry Ellison's son, David Ellison, started the company Skydance Media in 2010, reportedly with seed capital of $350 million coming from his father and other associates.
We can call this...
Skydance took over Paramount
I'm gonna
and
start
formed
like,
Paramount's
this is
goal.
what I'm doing right here. I have no idea
Ellison
what I'm
still has
doing,
control
but
over.
it's a waste of
This new
time.
mega media company is also
Could have been
reportedly
done
eyeing a
5
deal
minutes
to acquire
ago.
Warner
if I knew what the fuck I was doing. Just drawing lines, seeing what the fuck I'm... Yeah, what the fuck? What the shit? No one can explain. No one can understand.
But the lucrative relationship with the government has raised some eyebrows around how this business is run, such as the cancellation of Stephen Colbert at the same time that the TikTok deal and the current slate of big acquisitions were being assessed.
They're being done, being made. Let's stop looking at this.
Late-night talk shows have been a slowly fading medium for a long time now. However, even the potential for an organization with this much influence to have this much control is concerning enough by itself. But it gets worse. As something of a synergistic move with Oracle's heavy focus on AI, David has been a vocal supporter of using the technology to lower costs in the movie production industry.
Okay, now I have to make the other wing as cool.
The biggest problem of all. Larry Ellison is 81 years old, and while he looks pretty good for his age, he is eventually going to die. The exact details of his estate are unknown, but it's safe to assume that he will pass down at least some of his influence over Oracle to his son. That
Mega
means
cool
one
wings.
man could soon potentially control one of the biggest social media platforms and traditional media platforms at the same time. So if you ever wondered what happened if we mixed Rupert Murdoch with Mark Zuckerberg, we may be about to find out. Compared to the other big companies, Skydance and Oracle are far more low-key to the average person when compared to competitors like Disney or Facebook. But I hope in whatever way it can, this video shines a little bit more light on them because they could soon be just as important. Now, of course, this is only one part of a bigger trend that is getting a lot less attention than it really should. Go and watch this video next to find out why businesses are slowly going extinct. And don't forget to like and subscribe to keep on learning how money works.
This box is what Factor says will keep me healthy, save me time, and make my life easier. No grocery shopping, no cooking.
Here's my Factor experience. The food was pretty much fine, but there were multiple times where I had paused a week and they charged me and sent me the week worth of food anyway, which is why I canceled. And also, the packaging is really overwhelming, actually.
Annoying.
I still have like 4 Factor boxes in the basement. They're just so big. And they would take up the entire freezer. And I think the options, like they're like the few months I was with them, I got tons of repeats. But like the food was fine. It was pretty tasty, it was pretty fun. But after the introductory offers, I mean, it was pricey, there was too much packaging, and I just especially did not like being charged when I tried to pause it. And now I'm just not eating at all. Save ultimate money. I am tempted to try and script a video about a new, never before seen, revolutionary, financially beneficial diet called not eating. It's great for you.
Just microwave and eat. Sounds almost too good to be true, right? Here's the
Play the video.
thing. Factor isn't some scrappy
The lock in a
meal
stacko
delivery
says.
service.
No,
It's
no,
one of the
no.
same
It's called
massive
starvation,
company
not
that runs
fasting.
Not
HelloFresh,
eating with a
Live
purpose.
and Green Chef. And behind the sleek marketing and Instagram ads,
Not eating for
there are some
it's
serious
not
questions
eating
about cost,
forever.
quality, and whether these
It's not
meals are
eating for a
actually worth
planned
it.
amount of time.
So today,
and
I'm
saving
putting
lots of
Factor
money.
to the test. I'm breaking down the good, the bad, and the business behind it. I'm going to try
The
4
lock in a
different
stacko
meals,
says.
rate them, and
Not
by the end
eating
of
for
this video,
periods
you
of
should
time.
know if Factor deserves a space in your
Mhm.
fridge or not. All right, let's go ahead and open this. I've seen this before. Big sheet block of ice. Okay, immediately it just looks a lot. Okay.
The
This
lock
guy
in a
really
stacko
likes them,
says.
actually, so
But you
just
still
show
have to
what
get
I'm
a certain
looking at.
amount of calories
Okay.
in your body, so the money
So
saving
here's
is
meal
only
number 1.
temporary.
We've got pot roast shredded beef.
I mean, after you
mash,
get rid of
garlic
all
fried
the
chicken,
extra
meatballs,
calories that are
roasted
already
garlic
stored in
cheese.
you.
Okay, I think I'm gonna make the pot roast shredded beef and mash first. So it's 450 calories, 20 grams of protein. All right.
It might be short term, but hey, you could.
Opening
It definitely
this,
benefits.
it doesn't look the most appetizing, but hopefully it tastes good. I am now going to stick this in the microwave for 2 minutes. Now, while that cooks in the microwave, let's break down what exactly is Factor. Factor, originally called Factor 75, started back
I mean,
in
so would
2012
any
with a pretty
calorie
simple
deficit
idea.
diet?
Make healthy eating easy.
Okay, but
If you wanted
fasting is
nutrition-first
much
meals
less
and didn't have
like
to cook
soul
yourself,
crushing
high-protein dishes
than
are
just not
definitely an
eating
option.
enough to make you
Calorie-controlled
happy
portions and
every
even
day.
vegan meals. In 2020,
And
Factor
it's
was
been
acquired by
proven there were a
HelloFresh
bunch.
for
There were many
$277
starvation
million,
diets
and that
where
deal
they
changed everything.
just like
Overnight,
slowly
Factor went from
decrease the amount of calories you get per day.
of the
And some people
biggest
just even like
global
quit
delivery
the
empires
studies
in
because it was
history.
just so
This meant Factor
miserable.
now had access to massive resources,
Fasting is much
nationwide
better.
shipping, and heavy marketing power. So on paper, Factor is this convenient, healthy
Yeah, I'm stuck like right here.
branch to HelloFresh. Meals that feel like a personal chef designed them, delivered right to your door. But like most things, it's not that simple. So here's how Factor works. First,
The
you pick a plan,
Lockinestaco says.
anywhere from 6
That is
to
true,
18 meals
at
a
least
week,
for some
and then
people.
they ship them straight to your door. The meals arrive in these
Yeah.
insulated boxes packed with ice, and each one is sealed in a black plastic tray. Factor loves to
Yeah,
point
I mean,
out
like
that these meals
I
are fresh
feel
and
such a
frozen, but
disconnect
at the end of the day, you're
from
still responsible for
desire
eating them. Every week or
anymore.
so, you get to choose from about 30
Like I
or so
just
rotating meals. The portions are calorie controlled, the macros are all laid out,
I
and it
really
feels
have
very
like
diet
there's
friendly.
nothing
So this all
worth
sounds great,
eating
but I think the
a
biggest
lot of
problem that
times.
people have with Factor is just
I
how
tried a
insanely
Pepsi today.
expensive it is. Just to give
I
you
made a
some
lot of really
perspective,
bad
I
decisions
ordered
today.
meals off of Factor's website,
Mm,
and in
I mean,
total, it cost me $80.38.
none of them were
The
worth it.
Lockinestaco says.
$20
It is
for
very
a
good,
glorified
within
TV
reason.
dinner. That is just insane.
Mm.
The
It's just
final
really
product
freeing
looks
to
like
not
so.
care.
It doesn't look that appetizing. Okay, I take it back.
Like
It's really not
like
look
fast food.
appetizing, but we're gonna give it a
Fast
go.
food is like a
So
sin.
this is what my bite looks like.
Imagine if you could just say, you know what? I don't need the fast
Okay,
food.
cannot lie.
I don't need food at
That's
all.
actually really good. That's
I don't
really
need to
tasty, actually.
kill
It's got good
myself eating
seasoning,
this
it's got
like
good
really
flavor.
subpar
It
shit.
doesn't look the best, but it really tastes good. Make
I
sure
could
you
just
always
eat
your
nothing.
vegetables here. Yeah, really good.
And you see the big
Not too bad,
lines
well
at
seasoned.
like Taco Bell,
Really
and you're
tasty.
like,
Okay, next
why?
I'm
The
going to try
Lockinestaco
this
says.
garlic herb chicken.
Reasonable.
Is what the garlic herb and chicken looks
Mm.
like. It actually looks pretty good, I can't lie. And
You see
here's my
food,
bites of
like you
chicken.
see like
It is steaming
litter,
hot.
like people throwing away shit on the floor, or
Okay,
you know,
chicken wing is a
throwing
little bit more
cups
bland.
out their
The chicken
cars,
doesn't
and
seem
it's
to
like,
be that
you
well
had
seasoned,
that,
but still not bad.
you
The
consumed
Whopper's
that, and now
shredded
you're just
beef is
throwing it
fantastic.
away.
Okay, it's the next day.
You
I'm
even
going to
need it in the
try
first place.
the other 2 meals now. Next we have cavatappi and meatballs. This is what this one looks like. This one definitely is the most like liquidy. Not sure if you can see that liquid, but yeah. Again, in terms of presentation and appetizing, not the strongest, but you know what? I'm willing to... Oh, this is so liquidy. That is so gross. This one's the grossest, I think. But we're gonna try a meatball. This is my bite. Let's give it a try. Yeah, that one's not great. It's kind of bland. The red sauce is really runny. It's not thick at all. Meatballs are kind of under-seasoned. This one is pass. All right, next we are trying roasted garlic chicken. There is an issue with this one that I just warmed up. It is punctured. It is compromised and dripping. Oh God. Okay, guys, come on, Factor. What are we doing? This is what this one looks like.
Is this just like a review? Is this just a normal review?
I'm not really
Thought it was gonna
confident.
be
Okay.
a deep dive.
Here is my bite of the chicken and mashed potatoes.
The Lockinestaco says. BRB phone dying.
Alright, we'll do CPR.
It's kind of chewy. Not a lot of flavor. This is not as good as the ones yesterday. These ones are not good. Even just the one extra day in my fridge had an effect on the quality. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Now, to be fair, Factor does get some things right. First of all, the convenience cannot be denied. If you're busy and don't want to think about cooking, having a full meal ready in 3 minutes is hard to beat. Second is the variety. They've got keto, protein plus, calorie smart, and even vegan options, which is more than most meal services offer. And third is the nutrition transparency. You can see the calories, protein, carbs, and fat clearly on every meal, which makes it easy to track if you're dieting or counting macros. For people with money and no time to cook, Factor does actually offer a pretty good solution, but these positives come with a pretty big caveat. Like I mentioned before, the price. On the website, it looks like it's going to be like $12 a meal, but once you add delivery fees and taxes, it's close to like $18 per serving. That means a week's worth of meals for one person can easily cost more than $100. At that point, you're in the same prices as restaurants. And secondly, the portion sizes. The meals are small. For some people, that's fine, but if you got a bigger appetite, you're gonna be hungry again an hour later. It feels more like a diet plan than real everyday eating. And then there's freshness. Factor advertises their food as never frozen, but it's still mass-produced, packaged.
What if one of America's darkest chapters wasn't just history, but a warning? The Great Depression wasn't only a financial crash, it tore apart everyday life. Families lost
Wait, well,
homes,
all history
jobs
should be
vanished overnight,
warning.
and food became scarce. It
That's the whole
reshaped
point of
government,
history.
fueled extremism, and
If it
left
didn't matter,
scars
we'd
for
just
generations.
forget, wouldn't we?
Today, the same patterns are starting to emerge. So, are we already living through the first signs of an economic collapse? On this episode of the Infographic Show, we are breaking down why the Great Depression still matters and what it means now. The war to end all wars ended in 1918, an incredibly bleak time in human history, but it was followed by a surge of optimism powered by electricity. In 1920, about 35% of American households had it, and millions more would soon join them. The roaring 1920s became an age of glamour, liberation, and risk-taking. The U.S., now the richest nation per capita on Earth, seemed unstoppable. With confidence sky high, investors poured money into new businesses. Automobiles rolled off assembly lines and into driveways. Middle-class families chatted on their new telephones. Crowds lined up to watch moving pictures, while the fashionable smoked and danced in jazz clubs.
I shall lurk for a
This was
while.
mass consumerism, and it felt
Okay.
good. For a moment, many
I shall
Americans believed that
suffer.
the old world of hard work and endless struggle had been left behind. But the good times couldn't last. Reckless speculation, easy credit, and the arrogance of bankers brought the whole system crashing down like a house of cards. Their actions pushed the U.S. and much of the world into an economic dark age. The fallout fueled extremism abroad, helping Adolf Hitler rise in Germany, and it set the stage for World War II. It also vindicated the communists in Russia and their supporters in the
Things
West.
to do.
It all
I am here
started
to
on
suffer with
October
you.
29th, 1929, Black Tuesday. 16 million shares were dumped in a single day, triggering the Wall Street crash. The U.S. had been booming through the 1920s as ordinary people clamored for a slice of the new consumer pie. Businesses, desperate to cash in, ramped up production, but there was a problem. A huge portion of Americans couldn't afford the goods being made. Warehouses filled
I
up
don't know
with unsold
why
goods,
my
pushing
tooth
down
is
wages
aching
and
in this
widening the wealth
annoying
gap.
fucking
This
manner.
created a vicious cycle. From the outside, America still looked unstoppable, at least for a while. Tales of ordinary people turning small bets into fortunes filled the headlines. Regular Joes rushed to the stock market, and bankers, never one to pass up a gamble, poured fuel on the fire, handing out loans to keep the frenzy going. The recipe was simple: borrow, buy, wait, sell, cash out, repeat, and then retire young with your feet up. But by late 1929, the reality was setting in. Stock prices had shot far beyond the actual value of the companies they represented. Add in some panic selling, and then the bubble turned into a wobble. The wobble became a stampede, and the stampede ended in financial carnage. As shares collapsed, the banks tried to stop the bleeding. They bought up millions of them, hoping to restore confidence in the market. But the money they used wasn't theirs. It belonged to their customers. So when the market kept sinking, the banks were left with tons of almost worthless stock, and their customers were left with, well, nothing. The great guardians of capitalism had just set fire to the nation's savings. The banks went under, and millions of Americans lost all of their money. At the Bank of the United States in New York, 400,000 depositors saw their money vanish, and that was just one bank out of nearly 9,000 that failed. In total, close to 40% of U.S. financial institutions collapsed. Businesses also failed, and mass unemployment skyrocketed. The vicious cycle of broke consumers and closed businesses gradually tore apart the fabric of the U.S. economy. In 1929, 1.6 million Americans were unemployed. By 1932, that number had exploded to over 12 million, about a quarter of the entire workforce. Industries ground to a halt. In some cities, unemployment rates were over 50%. The poorest people were hit the hardest. They had no safety net, no social welfare state to catch them when times were hard. If you lost your job, you lost your home, your savings vanished, and in the worst cases, children died young from diseases linked to malnutrition. With 25% of working-age Americans out of work, countless families
See,
simply
this is
had nothing
where
at all.
merging the
For many
layers
Americans,
was the
Great
true
Depression was like a
sin.
kick in the teeth.
Because I want
Just
to
over
adjust
a
the
decade
shape
earlier,
of the
2
wing
million men
right
had been sent to
here.
fight in Europe, and almost
And
160,000 of them
I'm
never
gonna
came
suffer
back.
for it.
That war
I'm
was
gonna
supposed
suffer
to usher in a
greatly because
brighter
I just
age,
it's
the
not a
progressive age,
complicated or
the
anything.
time
I
of
just have to
modern
redraw that
democracy and
area.
prosperity. Now the
It's
soldiers and their
annoying.
families were down and out. In the summer of 1932, some 43,000 demonstrators, veterans, their families, and allied groups, marched on Washington. They were demanding their service bonus certificates, even though they weren't due to be cashed until 1945. The veterans set up camps, but the police rushed them with truncheons and tear gas. Shots rang out, and 2 protesters were killed. Then came in the army. Infantry, cavalry, even tanks rolled in. The camp was left a wreck, tents burning, and dozens injured. During the 1928 campaign, Herbert Hoover struck an optimistic tone, promising a brighter future. A self-made millionaire in mining and business, Hoover believed deeply in laissez-faire economics. Let the system sort itself out, he argued. Don't interfere with banks or businesses, and prosperity would return on its own. He believed rugged individualism was the way forward, rejecting what he saw as a nanny state. Even at the height of the Depression, he insisted that relief for the poor should come from charities and local communities, not Washington. But
Yeah,
while
well, I
Hoover
wish
preached
Herbert
self-reliance,
Hoover's goals had
unemployment soared and Americans lined up
been
for hours
succeeded
just
somehow.
to get a bowl of soup.
Too
Still,
bad.
he tried. In 1929, Hoover introduced the Agricultural Marketing Act. This created the Federal Farm Board, which bought up surplus crops and kept farmers
Oh
afloat. But
no.
the plan
Beginning
backfired.
of the
With
subsidized
fewer key
farming.
buyers, farmers churned out even more, driving prices down further. Instead of saving agriculture, it only deepened the crisis. And in 1930 came the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act. This raised tariffs on more than 20,000 imported goods. The idea was to protect American industry and force people to buy American. Instead, other nations retaliated with tariffs of their own. U.S. exports collapsed, and by 1934, global trade had shrunk by almost 2/3. American farmers and manufacturers, who had once relied on foreign markets, were financially crippled. In 1930, Hoover set up the Emergency Committee for Employment, urging states and businesses to hire. By 1932, he pushed through the Emergency Relief and Construction Act, funding some public works, but the programs were weak and underfunded, often aimed more at shoring up the banks and railroads than feeding hungry families. By the time the breadline stretched across every major city, Hoover's name was tied to poverty and desperation. Shanty towns were dubbed Hoovervilles, and empty pockets turned inside out became Hoover flags. At street level, few Americans felt that Washington was doing anything to halt the collapse. With no help from the top, ordinary Americans began to organize. Faith in the system hit rock bottom, fueling leftist labor movements that unsettled Americans' elite for the next few decades. In 1931 in Seattle, the Unemployed Citizens League was formed. It spread quickly to other cities, recruiting tens of thousands of members. They formed self-help cooperatives, pooling what little they had. Together, they gathered food, clothing, and firewood to survive. Soup kitchens sprang up across the country, funded by churches, charities, or sometimes even gangsters like Al Capone in Chicago. Homelessness wasn't new. Before the Depression, it mostly meant single men left behind by the system. But now entire families were pushed out onto the streets. The income of the average American household fell by about 40%. And in just 1932, over 273,000 families were evicted. They built makeshift shanty towns. Kids with dirty faces played in the mud while their parents hunted for food or day labor, anything to get them through the week. Walls were scavenged wood, roofs patched with scrap tin, insulation stuffed with rags, paper, or cardboard. About 70% of Hooverville residents were poor white Americans, and now they lived side by side with African Americans, Native Americans, and migrants from Mexico and Central America. More and more people began to wonder if the Soviets had it right, if communism might work better than capitalism. But most Americans, even left-leaning intellectuals, had little idea of the brutality inside the Soviet Union. The Depression wasn't just about poverty, it was about losing faith in the government, in capitalism, in the future itself. That loss spread worldwide, dividing societies. People turned on each other when they needed solidarity the most. The country was forced to pay crushing reparations, give up territory, and dismantle its military, debts worth hundreds of billions in today's money. By 1929, Germany relied heavily on U.S. loans. When Wall Street crashed and America demanded repayment, The German economy collapsed overnight. By 1932, 6 million Germans, about 30% of the workforce, were unemployed. And into this chaos stepped Adolf Hitler, a man who in the late 1920s had been dismissed as a fringe loudmouth. His rants about failed capitalism drew only small crowds in 1928, when the Nazi Party scraped in just 2.6% of the vote. But as Germany hit rock bottom in the early 1930s, his message of national revival began to resonate. By July 1932, the Nazis had 37%.
Press any button? What if I pressed the button F? Why does that happen? A lowercase letter F is the scariest letter in the alphabet kingdom. You could never do a Call of Duty F. Nobody would buy it. They would be too afraid. Garfield Kart F, Halls of Hatred. Nobody would buy that. Only Silent Hill players are brave enough to buy a game called Silent Hill F. What is Panini Projection? Is it like... Let's see if they fixed this franchise yet. In Silent Hill 2 Remake, you could not walk into cloth. There was no cloth physics and nothing. And absolutely nothing. This is not a AAA production. This is a single F production. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is AAA. Oh, thank God.
The fox gods enshrined all over the place.
The F stands for fox. Escape from the fog monster. The F stands for fog. This is kind of like the Ratatouille game. Oh God, do not go AAA during the fog monster chase. Oh no, I have to go AAA during the fog monster chase. No, no, no. No, 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 no. Get out of there, get out of there. Go a different way. Yeah, go to AAA like that. I'm free. The F stands for free. Oh, it's got my foot. The F stands for foot. They definitely put a lot of money into the hair of this game. Look at her. Look at just the lighting on her hair, how it like shifts around. Look at that. No, Silent Hill. I'm talking about the hair right now. Press B to dodge monsters. You cannot get me, monster. I hit B, and I dash across the entire world. Oh, come and kill me. Come and... Hey, where you going? Where you going? I'm way over here. I'm on the other side of the whole map. What are you even trying to do? Is she like a ninja warrior? Maybe the F stands for far dashes. Look at this TV. This is not the latest in technology. Look at how fancy that is. It only like lights up the right side of her hair like that. They're getting pretty fancy on this Silent Hill. I mean, cloth physics aside. Evil monster. Oh no! I bet you can't even jump over there, can you? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's not that AAA. Alright, now this really doesn't make sense why she couldn't jump over that stupid little railing. Say, you doing the piano? Sell the antique comb? You have received 300 faith. The F stands for faith. Just you wait till I find like a plank or something. No, not that's worthless. Get a plank. Oh, I see. This is just Dark Souls again. The F stands for From Software. Do you think I'll be able to make like funny weapons like Dead Rising? Who won? Good drink. Very good. Oh, I would love to see you hit me. Go ahead. Go ahead. Boom, I just dashed into a cutscene. What are you gonna say about that? The way forward is blocked by a fence. The F stood for fence all along.
What was that?
That's just the evil Silent Hill monster, don't worry. It's just like a metaphysical manifestation of your irrational fear of green beans. Oh, stop stabbing me in the throat. Kinda hurts. Takes a little health off. Hee, I'm doing this. Oh, no. Wait. Just let me finish this. I lured him so far away. This time he's looking at a picture of green beans taped to a wall. I got this. Just, you have to do it twice? That's stupid. The F stands for stupid. I've unlocked a new costume. The F now stands for Fluffy Bunny Fluff. This is a highly disturbing and scary franchise.
Why would someone put this here?
I don't know. Why are you a rabbit? This field is really scary. I keep thinking someone's there, but it's always just a scarecrow with his creepy face. I disagree. I don't find it scary at all, really. What that adds a little bit to the scariness. I think when they try to chop your head off, that means they're the evil one. I pick this one. You would not betray me. I was wrong. Which one of you dumb scarecrows is the right one? You idiotic imbeciles, stop attacking me. Maybe if I'd be nicer? What's truly terrifying about this puzzle is that every time you get it wrong, you have to do more of the combat. Maybe that's why everybody loved PT. It didn't have any combat. You know who would be really good at this game? King of the Hill. This is the one. Come on! This is gonna be the last one I check. It's gotta be this one. Look at him. He's pointing. He's saying, look, go over there. This is the nice one. Be nice! There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. So only 17 more battles. What if it's this one? What if it's this one? Go east. But of course, this must be where the treasure of Silent Hill lies. Oh, nope.
Time to work on the hair.
300 scarecrows. Alright. Can you even imagine how I feel? He never once looked at me the way he looked at you. Not once. Maybe it's like where they're looking? It's about like he is not looking at her, but he's looking at me. It's a boy scarecrow. He's looking at the scarecrow of me. It's this one. But he's not looking at her. But this guy is also, well, he's kind of looking, he's looking at her, but he's also looking at him. This one, he's looking at her. He's like, will you marry me? But she's over here like this. And this one, he's like, hello. No, it's gotta be this one. It's gotta be this one, definitely. I'm definitely incredibly smart for picking this one. Stupid thing. She's the only this one type of scarecrow here. What if it's her? Let's just pick her, because it's gotta be her. She's unique. Stupid thing.
What? Oh no!
I ran out of weapons. I just gotta activate everyone. Wait. I'm activating. Wait, don't kill me. Don't kill me. No, I gotta do this. Let me activate all the scarecrows. There. I wonder why. Northwest. Phenomenal. Now, are they gonna put a 4th puzzle? Is it a 4 puzzles type of game? Yes, it is. Can you even imagine how I feel? I've been stuck in this stupid scarecrow part for 800 years. The hint is eyesore. We have to look at somebody's eye. Who's walking? Who's walking around up here? Who's doing that? Who's being scary? I hear that. I wish I could hear footsteps in Counter-Strike this good. Okay, your eyes are fine. They're fine. You moved. You were not there before. You are trying to kill me. You are going for the kill. I found you out. No. You're not slick. I know you. I know it was you that was moving. I notice there's no footsteps now that I'm looking at you, huh? You're lucky that I have no weapons or any way to kill you. Alright, I'm just gonna keep my eyes on this scarecrow. I saw that. You can't get me. I know it's you. I know you're the evil one. Eyesore. Look, this one is covering her eyes with her hair. It's gotta be her. Stop trying. Let me play the stupid puzzle. I have nothing. I have no moves. Quick, win the thing. What? That was the right one? Other method. Just activate all of them. I did it. Where am I going? That way. Okay. Everybody's coming to kill me. Now this is where the treasure of Silent Hill's 700th scarecrow puzzle lies. I got a lot of scarecrows coming after me. It's gotta be this one. Activate. I did it. I'm really good at this puzzle.
But we're trapped here. There's no way out.
What do you mean there's no way out?
Go take a look out the window.
Resident Evil 4 does.
Bridge. Now what do we do?
Well, we can't use the bridge. I wish I had this guy during the Scarecrow puzzle. He would have figured it out immediately.
Some games take years to build and just hours to die. From the day before vanishing in just 4 days to the Culling 2 losing all its players overnight, we're counting down 10 games that completely collapsed the moment they went live. Let's get into it. First up is The Day Before. The Day Before was one of the most infamous gaming disasters in recent memory. Marketed as a massive, open-world MMO survival game set in a post-apocalyptic America, it promised a mix of The Division's tactical gunplay, The Last of Us's grim aesthetic, and DayZ's survival mechanics. Developed by Fantastic, a relatively unknown studio at the time, it quickly became one of the most wish-listed games on Steam, largely thanks to sleek trailers and ambitious promises. But behind the scenes, red flags were everywhere. Development delays, legal trouble over the game's name, and a lack of transparency raised eyebrows. When The Day Before launched into early access in December 2023, the illusion shattered almost instantly. Instead of a sprawling survival experience, players were greeted with a buggy, half-finished extraction shooter with none of the promised MMO feature. There was no open-world exploration, no base building, no meaningful loot system. Just a single, repetitive city map plagued by game-breaking bugs, performance issues, and laughably poor AI. Visual fidelity was drastically lower than what had been shown in trailers, and the overall experience felt hollowed and rushed. The game was quickly labeled as a scam by many in the gaming community, with players accusing Fantastic of misleading marketing and asset flipping, and the backlash was immediate. Within 24 hours, the game's Steam player count dropped from a peak of around 38,000 concurrent players to just a few thousand within 24 hours, and overwhelmingly negative reviews flooded the store page. Only 4 days after launch, Fantastic announced the studio was shutting down, citing financial strain and the game's poor reception. The Day Before was pulled from sale shortly afterward and later delisted entirely. What was once one of the most hyped games on Steam became a cautionary tale of marketing hype, developer inexperience, and broken promises, all within a single week. Skull and Bones was Ubisoft's long-delayed attempt to turn the naval combat from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag into a full standalone experience. Set during the golden age of piracy, the game cast you as an up-and-coming pirate captain, building your infamy in the Indian Ocean. Rather than a narrative-driven open-world adventure, Skull and Bones was designed as a live service game focused almost entirely on ship-based combat, looting, and crafting. You heard it, live service.
Brother, this guy stinks!
Players could take on contracts, hunt merchant vessels, and upgrade their ships, but the experience was oddly devoid of meaningful on-foot gameplay. Some of the best parts of Assassin's Creed 4, the boarding the ships and exploring towns, were reduced to automated cutscenes or basic menu interfaces. Despite its beautiful oceans and deep ship customization, the game quickly felt repetitive and shallow. When Skull and Bones finally launched in February 2024, after an 11-year development effort and multiple delays, it failed to make the splash that Ubisoft hoped for. Priced at $70 and branded the first quadruple A title, it landed to a lukewarm critical reception. The game did peak at around 850,000 players during its release week, but that number did include players using an 8-hour free trial. Actual sales were significantly lower and retention fell off sharply in the weeks that followed. On PC, particularly on Steam, the game never took off. Reviews were mixed and negative, citing repetitive gameplay, a lack of meaningful content, poor AI, and a confused identity between a single-player game and an MMO live service. Despite the efforts to support the game with new content, live service updates, and price cuts, Skull and Bones struggled to maintain a healthy player base. Critics called it a missed opportunity, especially considering how long it was in development and how much money had been spent, reportedly over $200 million. By the end of 2024, it was clear that Skull and Bones had failed to capture the pirate fantasy it promised. While we're on the topic of Ubisoft, let's discuss Star Wars Outlaws. Outlaws was marketed as the first truly open-world Star Wars game, an ambitious third-person adventure from Ubisoft's Massive Entertainment, set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. The game followed Kay Vess, a clever scoundrel trying to pull off the galaxy's biggest heist with the help of her furry companion Nyx, take bounties from shady syndicates, and even pilot your ship into seamless space battles. The idea was great, a Star Wars experience grounded in the underworld, letting you carve your own path through a galaxy of moral gray areas. But despite its strong premise, Outlaws quickly revealed itself to be a shallow experience. At launch, Star Wars Outlaws was met with lukewarm reviews and modest sales. Critics praised its cinematic action and good performances, but under the surface, the game struggled with identity. Stealth sections were frustrating and often led to instant mission failure. Combat felt flat, enemy AI was inconsistent, and the open world design quickly became repetitive, with copy-pasted objectives, minimal incentives to explore, and barren environments that lacked meaningful interaction. Even spaceship travel, while technically seamless, felt underused and limited. Though it sold around 1 million copies in its first month, the game fell short of Ubisoft's expectations. Despite Ubisoft's efforts to patch technical issues and release new story content, Outlaws never recovered, with the Ubisoft CEO later blaming some of its failures on the Star Wars franchise as a whole. The world felt beautiful but empty, the choices felt scripted rather than meaningful, and the live service framework didn't match the single-player story experience that many wanted. What could have been a landmark Star Wars title ended up as a disappointment. Radical Heights was a neon-drenched, 80s-inspired battle royale developed by Boss Key Productions, the same studio behind the failed hero shooter Lawbreakers. Launched into extreme early access on Steam in April 2018, the game tried to cash in on the booming success of Fortnite and PUBG by offering its own twist: arcade-style gunplay, BMX bikes, cash-based progression that carried between matches, and a game show aesthetic full of pastel colors, synthesizers, and retro flair. While the concept had personality, the execution was rushed. The project was pivoted into hastily after Lawbreakers had bombed commercially, and it was obvious the studio was scrambling for a quick win. The game saw an initial surge in attention, peaking at around 12,500 concurrent players on day 2 of release, but it couldn't hold the momentum. Within 2 weeks, Steam player counts had dropped by 82%, plummeting to just over 2,000 and continuing to spiral downward. Online communities quickly soured, with players noting how unpolished and incomplete the experience felt. Reviews described it as bare bones, janky, and clearly unfinished. While popular streamers like Ninja and Dr. Disrespect gave it a temporary boost, the exposure wasn't enough to offset the deeper problem. Radical Heights wasn't ready, and worse, it wasn't all that fun. By May 2018, just 1 month after the game's debut, studio head Cliff Bleszinski announced that Boss Key Productions was shutting down. The game was delisted, servers were shut off, and all development ceased. Radical Heights joined Lawbreakers as a second major flop for the studio. In the end, Radical Heights became one of the fastest game collapses in modern history, remembered not for what it was, but for how quickly it burned out. If you're enjoying the video thus far, consider subscribing to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Now, let's get back into it. Concord was a hero shooter developed by Firewalk Studios and published by Sony, positioned as a bold, big-budget entry into the competitive multiplayer space. Players joined 5-man squads made up of human and alien mercenaries, battling it out in fast-paced PvP modes. Despite a promising visual style and competent gunplay, critics and players alike found the experience deeply underwhelming. With uninspired character design, sluggish movement, and bland maps.
Come on, let's go!
Worse still, it launched with a $40 price tag, raising eyebrows in a genre dominated by polished free-to-play games. The launch was catastrophic. On day 1, Concord peaked at just 697 concurrent players on Steam, with PlayStation numbers barely passing 1,300. Sales in the first week totaled an estimated 25,000 copies across all platforms. Shockingly low for a title with a reported $200 to $400 million development budget and an 8-year production cycle. Within 2 weeks, Sony pulled the plug, and on September 6, 2024, the game's servers was shut down. All purchases were refunded, and Concord entered the history books as one of the fastest AAA game shutdowns ever, just 14 days after launch. By late October, Firewalk Studios, which had been acquired by Sony just a year earlier, was permanently closed. Internal reports revealed a culture of, quote, toxic positivity, where critical feedback was downplayed or ignored by those in charge, something that sounds awfully familiar nowadays. Sony had reportedly envisioned Concord as the beginning of a new blockbuster franchise on par with Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars. In the end, Concord became a cautionary tale in the live service era. No matter how much money or time is poured into a project, if the game doesn't offer something fresh or worthwhile, no one's going to play the game. Players will just walk away, sometimes within days. Next up is The Lord of the Rings Gollum. It was a third-person stealth action-adventure game released May 2023. Players embodied Gollum and battled with his inner persona Smeagol in a linear Middle-earth journey that emphasized stealth, platforming, and dialogue-driven narrative choices between his dual identities. Visually and narratively intriguing on paper, the game promised to dive into Gollum's tortured psyche, traversing locations like Mordor in the years between The Hobbit and The Fellowship of the Ring. However, the launch was disastrous. Critics slammed almost every aspect, from the painfully bland gameplay and stiff animations to severe technical instability where early reviews even had to wait on day one patches before they could score the game. Metacritic rated it among the worst releases of 2023, with OpenCritic showing only about 4% of critics recommending it, which means 4% of the people rating the game should never rate games again. Steam player counts crashed quickly. Even at launch, they hovered under 800 peak users and have since dwindled to around 3 average concurrent players, with some days hitting 0. Reviews describe the controls and stealth as janky, platforming as rage-inducing, and enemy AI as comically incompetent. In the wake of its failure, developer Daedalic issued a public apology acknowledging the game's shortcomings, and immediately canceled plans for future Middle-earth titles. By June 2023, the company shuttered its in-house development studio, laying off staff and shifting entirely to publishing. Payday 3 was a long-awaited sequel to the highly successful Payday 2, launching September 2023. The game brought back the original crew, Dallas, Hoxton, Chains, and Wolf, into new heists set in modern-day New York, featuring updated mechanics that reflected modern changes like cryptocurrency and highlighted surveillance. But upon release, the game was plagued by server outages that locked players out of an online-only experience. Early on, Payday 3 saw a healthy peak of nearly 78,000 concurrent players on Steam. However, within a month, that number plummeted by around 90%.
I'm trying to imagine how I can make the hair more white.
Critically, the sequel drew mixed reviews, praise for maintaining solid core heist mechanics, but criticized heavily for having too little content, technical stumbles, and failing to evolve. In stark contrast, Payday 2, which released in 2013, remains a powerhouse on Steam. Where Payday 3 struggles to maintain a fraction of its audience, Payday 2 thrives thanks to its rich library of DLC, community support, and a loyal fan base. This disparity highlights how Payday 3 failed to recapture the magic of Payday 2. Even a decade-old title with decades of content easily outperforms the sequel, reinforcing the truth that sequels have to offer more than just nostalgia. They have to push forward the formula or just risk being overshadowed and overlooked. Next up, let's talk about
this kind of
Marvel's
works.
Avengers. Marvel's Avengers was a high-profile live-service action-adventure game developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Square Enix in September 2020. Players followed an original storyline centered on Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, rebuilding the fractured Avengers after the catastrophic A-Day incident. The game combined a single-player campaign with 4
The power of the divide
characters like Iron
layer
Man,
style.
Thor,
I love it,
Hulk, Black
actually.
Widow, with additional heroes added through free DLC. It featured a loot and progression system typical of modern live service titles, tied together with cinematic story sequences and set pieces. At launch, Avengers sold approximately 3 million copies and top charts in the US and UK, but its player base collapsed almost immediately. By November 2020, concurrent users on Steam had plummeted from launch peak, down to barely over 1,000, a staggering 96% drop in just 2 months. In the following months, player counts frequently dipped below 700 and even reached 0 during low traffic periods. Now, the game would have definitely been bigger on console compared to Steam, but it's really hard to get accurate numbers of console games. Even if we can't get specific console numbers, we know that the game did not hold a player base for very long. Community sentiment soured over the repetitive in-game content, frustrating bugs, and monetization missteps, such as controversial XP boosters later scrapped after backlash. Despite free expansions like War for Wakanda and added heroes like Black Panther and Spider-Man, the game never recovered its initial momentum. In January 2023, Crystal Dynamics announced it would end all support by March and delist Avengers in September, acknowledging that the title failed to meet expectations despite the strength of its IP. Ultimately, Marvel's Avengers became another cautionary tale in the live service genre. The Culling 2, released in July 2018, was a battle royale sequel from developer Zavient, a follow-up to the Culling, an early entrant into the genre that stood out with its brutal, melee-focused combat and smaller, more intimate matches. matches. Instead of doubling down on what made the original Culling game unique, the Culling 2 pivoted toward a more conventional PUBG-style formula. Large 50-player matches on a massive map, a greater emphasis on guns, and a noticeable abandonment of the original's crafting and trap mechanics. This shift confused and alienated the original fan base who had appreciated the tactical and close-quarters combat. Reviews for the Culling 2 were overwhelmingly negative. On launch day, the game peaked at around 249 concurrent players on Steam, staggeringly low for a Battle Royale title. Within just 24 hours, that number dropped to fewer than 10. In some regions, entire matches were unplayable due to the lack of players, with matchmaking lobbies remaining empty or filled with bots. Criticism poured in across Steam, Reddit, and YouTube, with users blasting the game as a cash grab that betrayed the identity of the original. The visuals were bland, the gameplay was clunky, and the experience felt rushed. Reviewers and players questioned why the game even existed at all. Less than a week later, on July 18th, Xavian announced they were pulling the Culling 2 from sale. Full refunds were issued, the servers were shut down, and the game was delisted from storefronts. In a rare move, the studio publicly admitted that they had made a mistake, stating, quote, "It's time for us to course correct. We're pulling the Culling 2 offline and refunding all purchases." They vowed to return to the Culling and attempt to rebuild trust by reverting to its original 2016 early access version. But the damage was done. The Culling 2 became one of the fastest commercial failures in gaming history. And even the revival of the Culling fizzled out after controversial monetization attempts, like charging players per match.
And you're going to charge people a monthly fee to play it. You're going to allow one match for free. And then, if you want to play another, you got to pay tokens.
Today, the Culling 2 stands as a textbook example of how quickly a game can crash when developers abandon the core of what made the original special. Coming in at number 10, let's discuss Babylon's Fall. Babylon's Fall was Platinum Games' attempt to break into the live service genre. And if you haven't noticed by now, the theme continues with the words live service.
You know, charging to play a match reminds me of like crypto games a lot. It'd even be an interesting mechanic.
The game featured a unique oil painting art style,
Or maybe like certain types of matches. And it encourage certain types of players. Certain types of matches have you gotta pay to enter. But then if you complete the game, you get your points back. Or whatever currency. Or at least do like... Yeah. There's like possibilities there. Alright, so all that I was doing was to adjust the color of the ears.
From launch, the warning signs were immediate. Steam player counts peaked at just over 1,100 on day one, a dismal number for a game designed to thrive on co-op and community engagement. Within weeks, that number dropped into the low dozens, and by May 2022, it famously hit a single concurrent player on Steam. Critical reception was equally brutal. Babylon's Fall landed near the bottom of Metacritic's worst games of 2022 list.
How to adjust the hair?
A soulless grind, visually confusing, and shockingly unfinished. Its loot systems were tedious, the enemy variety was minimal, and progression felt like a slog with very little payoff. Even core Platinum fans, loyal to the studio behind Bayonetta and Nier Automata, were left bewildered by the lack of polish and creative energy. The live service model only made things worse. With a battle pass structure, drip-fed cosmetics, and plans for seasonal content, Babylon's Fall tried to mimic the success of games like Destiny, but lacked the player base or quality to sustain it. By September 2022, just 6
Dang, if I had known about this game, I might have been tempted. Makers of Bayonetta and Nier Automata made a multiplayer game. It sucked.
And the game became unplayable after it shut down. In the end, Babylon's Fall stands as one of the fastest and most total collapses of any AAA live service title. These games didn't just stumble, they collapsed right out of the gate. Whether it was broken promises, unfinished content, or just bad design, each one serves as a reminder of how brutal a failed launch can be. If you want to see the other side of the coin where disaster turns into redemption, be sure and check out my previous video on games that were hated at launch but have now found a loving fan base. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Welcome to another video about an epidemic that is making a lot of people angry. Today, we're talking about food delivery apps. Tell me if this has ever happened to you. You're in the middle of an intense gaming session, but suddenly you get a craving for some Taco Bell, specifically a chalupa. Instead of driving, you decide to open a delivery app like DoorDash because
better reaction, it's just a craving. You don't really need it.
When you open the app, you get bombarded with pop-ups, the prices are insane, and after ordering, you're left with the worst case of guilt in the history of mankind. Listen, we've all been there. Whether it's pizza, groceries, or even some cold medicine, delivery services are a really nice convenience. Or should I say, was. They've become wildly
No, you should say were.
expensive, manipulative, and in many
That
aspects
is bad
fundamentally
script
broken,
grammar.
but this story goes way
You should have
deeper.
said,
And
or
to
should I
make
say,
matters worse, delivery apps
word.
are squeezing restaurants, exploiting drivers, and reshaping how food shows up at our door. The future? Well, it might not
You can't
include
say
real
delivery
restaurants,
apps
real drivers,
was.
or even real choice. So how did we get here? Who's benefiting? Who's being left behind? And what, if anything, can we do about it? Let's get started. Food delivery used to be simple. You called a restaurant, someone picked up the phone, and 30 minutes later, a teenager named Kyle handed you a
I still don't
greasy
like
box
this
of
section
pizza,
here.
and you handed him some cash. But in the early 2010s, startups like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub arrived with a groundbreaking promise. Get anything delivered from anywhere with just a few taps. No need to spend time calling, no need to ask what specials are available, and most importantly, no need to deal with Kyle. Suddenly, you could get a burrito left at your door at 11 p.m. Small restaurants that never offered delivery unlocked a new revenue stream, and for gig workers, a new kind of job arrived. One you could start on your phone with flexible hours and unlimited pay. For many, food delivery had gone from a niche service to a fully normalized part of everyday life. Instead of just wasting time or even gas money, just order it to your door. We saw this really take shape during the pandemic when delivery became more than a convenience. At times, it became a necessity. And I think most of us can agree, there are some real use cases for food delivery, and it deserves a spot in our marketplace.
Yeah, but
these
hunger
apps
is
are
never
not what
won.
we were promised.
I
There
don't
are so many
believe in
issues
hunger.
with delivery apps like
Not our
DoorDash, Grubhub,
cravings.
Uber Eats that it's hard to know where to start. If I had $1 for every time someone posted a photo of their DoorDash order in shambles, I'd have like $6 or $7. Often, your food arrives late, cold, and sometimes even half-eaten. It's become a bit of a meme. But by far, the biggest issue with these apps is pricing. For years, the public has slammed these apps for exorbitant fees, inflated menu prices, and a complete lack of transparency when it comes to markups. Just venture to any Reddit thread on DoorDash, Grubhub, or Uber Eats, and you'll find numerous complaints about the cost of using these apps. People saying prices are expensive, out of control, or just outright insane. I looked up a few items in my area and compared the delivery app prices versus the in-store prices for some context, and the markups were noticeable. A Taco Bell cheese quesadilla cost $5.99 at my local store. On DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats, $7.31. A 22% increase. I checked Burger King next. A Whopper is $5.69 in store. On the apps, it's $7.19. A 26% increase. And of course, I had to check McDonald's. A Big Mac is priced at $5.39 in store. On the apps, it's marked up to $7.19, equating to a massive 33% jump. That's just the base menu price. This doesn't include delivery fees, tips, or even service fees. These apps have become a bit like blowing money in Vegas, except there is no chance of you making money, just guilt and being vilified by your family. For restaurants and gig workers, it's not sunshine and rainbows either. During the pandemic, restaurants had no choice. They either joined delivery apps or risked shutting down entirely. And that new revenue stream they hyped up years ago, yeah, that came with a massive asterisk, because these apps take a percentage from restaurants on every order, which quickly adds up. And gig workers are getting their backs blown out too. They're underpaid, stressed, and in a new hellish gamified labor system. So in the end, it really just seems like everyone is getting screwed. Someone should really make a YouTube video about this. Okay, so everyone is getting screwed. Why? How? And why now? To answer that, we have to see how we went from a promising food delivery future to a no-win delivery hellscape. For the last decade, venture capital has been the fuel behind pretty much every app on your phone. Social media, dating, and of course, food delivery. If you're not familiar, VC is simple in theory. Investors pour billions into a company not because it's already profitable, but because they hope it will be someday. Profit doesn't matter in the short term. Growth does. That's the Silicon Valley playbook. And delivery apps ran the same play. Undercut the competition, flood the market with artificially cheap delivery, crush traditional delivery systems like your local pizza shop, and once you're the only game in town, jack up the prices and hope nobody notices. This is a real concept that Harvard Business School is actually named blitzscaling. Put simply, blitzscaling means growing faster than
Looking
your
at
business can
Facebook.
realistically handle, intentionally breaking things in the name of speed. You hire fast, expand quickly, and even
Being
lose money on
lazy.
purpose, all with the goal of
His
becoming
hair is
so
weird,
big
ain't
so
it?
quickly that no one can catch up. The end game? Monopoly. And
The Lock in a
not
Stacko
the
says,
rage-inducing board game,
New.
but the situation where one company has exclusive control over the entire supply of a particular product or service. But here's the issue with blitzscaling. It only works if you win. And these apps weren't exactly winning. Believe it or not, in their early years, many of these platforms lost money on nearly every
The
order.
Lock in a
They
Stacko
subsidized
says,
prices, handed out promo
It's fine.
codes, waived
Your goal
fees,
ID to finish
anything
it.
to hook users. In fact, it was reported last year publicly traded food delivery companies in the US and Europe have racked up over $20 billion in combined operating losses since going public. Take a step back with me for a second. When your business couldn't become profitable after we went through a pandemic during the one moment in human history perfectly designed for your business to make money and become profitable, I feel like we need to start evaluating your business. Even DoorDash, which is achieved market
Meow.
leadership, didn't even manage to turn a profit during the pandemic. And it wasn't until last year that DoorDash finally reported profitable quarters. And how did they manage that?
Guess
Well,
maybe it's
much
just
of it's
coloring
invested
that's
cash
annoying
tied
me
up.
more.
In a panic to make money,
I can't
The
tell.
all
Lock in
of
a
these
Stacko
apps
says,
are squeezing everyone.
Work.
And that's where things like service fees come in. What are service fees? Well, no one really knows. Here's what we do know. DoorDash charges a 15% service fee with a $3 minimum. Uber Eats uses a variable service fee based on basket size. Grubhub also charges a service
The Lock
fee,
in a
but
Stacko
how much
says,
depends on the restaurant,
got
the
it.
weather, and
ISM cheering
possibly
in you.
even Mercury's position in retrograde. These fees are deliberately
Cheering in
arbitrary,
you?
and that lack of
You.
transparency has drawn the attention
You.
of people in power.
You leave me alone.
2024, a
The Lock
group
in a
of
Stacko
US
Your words are
senators,
ominous.
including
Cheering for
Senator
you.
Elizabeth Warren, sent letters to
Okay.
DoorDash and Uber demanding answers about their pricing systems, accusing them of hiding fees, shifting blame, and quote, price gouging, plain and simple. And regulators aren't stopping at letters. In December 2024, the FTC and Illinois Attorney General reached
The Lock in
a
a Stacko says,
$25 million settlement
sounded
with
maybe not
Grubhub
good,
over
LOL.
deceptive pricing practices that harmed consumers, drivers, and restaurants. And in February 2025, DoorDash paid nearly $17 million to settle a lawsuit with the New York Attorney General for misleading customers about how tipping worked. If it sounds like these companies never really take accountability, it's because they don't. Every time there's a complaint, they point fingers. When people noticed that prices on delivery apps were insanely high compared to than in store, DoorDash dropped a press release called Setting the Record Straight on Menu Pricing. In it, they claimed they don't require restaurants to raise prices. And in fact, they quote, recommend that menu prices stay close to in-store levels to avoid disappointing customers. And they're technically right, but also completely wrong. They conveniently leave out the fact that restaurants are basically forced to charge more because, and write this down, DoorDash takes 15 to 30% of every order from the restaurant. Yes, you heard that correctly. They don't just make money from service fees, subscriptions, or even merch. They also charge the restaurants a hefty commission.
Okay, it's just like credit card processors. They charge
with higher tiers offering more marketing support in exchange for a higher commission.
They charge the restaurant 15% just to be on their platform. They charge you a service fee. In credit card terms, you know, they charge you interest to use the credit card, or even a monthly or yearly fee. They charge the businesses 1 or 2 or 3% for every single purchase.
Like McDonald's or Burger King. And maybe for them, it doesn't matter as much, but for small independent restaurants, many of which already operate on razor-thin margins, this is a huge problem. And even if you did everything right, adjusted your prices, cut costs, and tried to keep customers happy, the apps still found new ways to undercut you. Over the past few years, delivery apps have quietly helped fuel the rise of something called ghost kitchens, also known as cloud kitchens or even virtual brands. Ghost kitchens are restaurants with no storefronts, no seating, and sometimes not even their own kitchen space. They exist purely on delivery apps, often operating out of the back of an existing restaurant or even cloud kitchen warehouses. You may have already eaten from one without even realizing it. Burger Den and The Meltdown, guess what? That's just Denny's in disguise. Wild Burger is Buffalo Wild Wings. Cosmic Wings and Neighborhood Wings, both are just Applebee's. And those are the tame ones, established chains spinning off virtual brands to repackage existing menu items and test out new ones under different names. But where it gets weirder is with the industrial scale ghost kitchen hubs, cranking out food for dozens of fake restaurants all at once. Here's one in Pittsburgh called The Mill.
I mean, the concept of a ghost kitchen is so curious. How can they make money if they have no branding? It just kind of shows how, you know, useless it is to have this established business then.
Now, to be clear, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with offering more food options to
I like the
consumers,
idea
but
though
ghost
of
kitchens run
of a
off
set
the
business
multiple
using a
reasons.
ghost
Firstly,
kitchen
it
as a way to
widens
test out new
visibility for
menu
your
items
local
or like a
restaurants trying to
new
compete. You
niche.
open these delivery apps and see
You could say,
300
well, you know,
options,
I'm
not
thinking of
realizing that
opening like a
50 of
Korean
them are just the
restaurant
same
in this
kitchen wearing
city.
different hats.
Well,
So
how
for
can
a
I make sure
small
it's gonna
independent restaurant
succeed? Well, maybe I
already
should
struggling to
open a
survive,
ghost
all
kitchen
handing
running
over
out of
30%
my
of their
current
profits to
kitchen,
delivery apps.
having a
Now,
bunch
you're
of
also dealing
Korean,
with
you
dozens of
know,
ghost brands backed by
things
corporate
and
chains
just
with
seeing how the
venture
response
capital. But
is.
the worst part,
That's
in my
curious.
opinion, is the
That's not a
lack of
bad thing.
transparency. Ghost kitchens are designed to be replaceable. They're built to look appealing on the screen, cheap to produce, and easy to kill off when they stop performing. If one of these brands starts getting bad reviews, it can be quietly retired and replaced with a new one, all while operating at the exact same location. So let's recap. Customers are paying
Yeah, that's
more,
the shady part
restaurants are
though.
earning less,
Having a ghost
kitchens
kitchen
are
and
money
like, just
wise and
purposely like
crowding the
doing
market,
like pretty
but there's
subpar
still
food, and when the
complexities to each
reviews get
puzzle.
bad
The
enough, you
person
just go,
actually delivering
nope,
the
this place
food,
doesn't
the
exist
driver.
anymore.
And what if apps done with delivery drivers? Well, it's somehow worse. According to Glassdoor, the average hourly pay for DoorDash drivers in the US ranges between $17 to $24, with a median of around $20. On paper, that sounds decent, even comparable to traditional delivery jobs like FedEx or UPS. But there's a catch. Actually, there are several. DoorDash drivers are independent contractors, not employees. That means they're responsible for everything: gas, car repairs, insurance, and taxes. So when you hear that drivers make around $20 an hour, after costs, it's often closer to $14 or $15, sometimes even less. DoorDash gets thousands of people to do delivery work every day.
I don't know.
Without
I don't know what I'm
advertising
doing, but I
either.
hate every second
There's
of it.
no payroll, no benefits, no trucks to maintain. If something breaks, that's the driver's problem. If gas prices spike, also their problem. If they get sick or injured on the job, still their problem. And when lawmakers in California tried to close that loophole with a bill that would have required companies like DoorDash, Uber, and Instacart to treat their workers as employees, those companies collectively spent, and get this, over $200 million campaigning against it. They pushed something
Like,
called
of course they would
Proposition
though.
22,
That would like
a
ruin their
ballot
entire
initiative that carved
business.
them out of the law entirely. There were ads everywhere. They framed it as protecting flexibility for drivers, but in reality, it was a massive corporate-funded effort to maintain the status quo, and it worked. The measure passed, giving these companies a legal shield to keep treating workers like disposable tools. And these delivery apps are fully aware they're taking advantage of their drivers. So they designed a solution, a gamified labor system. Drivers are lured in with bonuses to join. Simple things like earn $150 when you join and complete your first 3 orders. And then once they get you into the system, some apps offer things like quests or challenges, little missions that sound like side quests in a video game, but are really just tactics to keep people working longer for less. You'll see stuff like complete 10 deliveries between 5 and 9 p.m. to earn an extra $15. Feels like a bonus, but it's actually about flooding the street with drivers during peak hours, which drives down base pay and ramps up competition. More drivers means more supply, and more supply means lower pay for everyone. They've also added tier systems like DoorDash's Top Dasher program. If you accept enough orders, keep your customer rating high, and don't get flagged too often, you'll get perks like priority access to better orders and delivery zones. But in practice, that just pressures drivers to accept every order, even the bad ones, just to stay in the club. Imagine being offered $3 to drive 10 miles for one item and feel like you have to say yes or risk losing your Top Dasher perks. So when it's all said and done, drivers aren't working with freedom or flexibility. They're working inside a system that pretends to offer both while quietly taking away control. Now, you might be sitting there drafting a comment saying, Zach, despite your great hair and smooth way with words, I don't see why this is a massive issue or how it's any different from what delivery drivers have dealt with in the past. And maybe you're right, we don't know. So to learn more, I sat down with someone who's actually lived this. I have a friend who's delivered for Papa John's, Domino's, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. He's easily one of the most qualified people I know when it comes to the topic, and here's what he had to say. Hello everybody, I'm here with my friend Dion to talk about food delivery, and he is an expert in the food delivery category. So for starters, Dion, can you give us an idea of how long you've been working in the food delivery industry?
Yes, so it's been something like 8 years or so, with 6 of that being Domino's, 2 years or so Papa John's, and then like 6 months was full-time DoorDash. So the first place was Papa John's. During during college, actually. And then from there, I saw the opportunity to go to Domino's, which was a much busier store, and the pay rate was, it kind of equaled out to like double the money or so. It's very, and for like DoorDash, it's market dependent. And then for like restaurants and pizza delivery and whatever, it's like dependent on how busy your store is. I like to think like, you know, the bigger pie, the bigger piece you get.
What was the reason that you decided to leave pizza and then go to try DoorDash?
There's like positives and negatives to every job, and then, you know, DoorDash is quite the same, where like you get the freedom, you get to be like your pseudo boss, I call it, where you set your own schedule and you can essentially work whenever you want. I actually took like a week to test it out, and I was like, this is sustainable. I felt the freedom, and it felt good to have like my own schedule under my complete control and just be able to like log off and log on whenever I wanted to.
Are you able to share like how much of a difference it is like financially for you?
Yeah, so DoorDash would come, it was pretty easy for me in my market to hit around $20 an hour before the tax. One of the main reasons I did go back is because at Domino's it's like usually like 22 an hour after tax.
Okay.
It is better money, but you lose like the freedom of being your own boss. And I kind of like to ask, I was asking myself at the point like, how much does freedom cost? You know, DoorDash has tiers of a driver. You like either silver, gold, or platinum, and they tell you that platinum unlocks the best deliveries. And to get to platinum now, you have to have a 70% acceptance rate. It felt really kind of like emotionally manipulative that they force you to be at that acceptance rate, so you're kind of like accepting the garbage orders. Where like I've seen bad ones where there'll be like just the $2 base pay for like 14 miles. I remember specifically one time crashing out because I wanted to keep that 70% acceptance rate, and like they were just sending me bad order after bad order after bad order. And then again, like positives and negatives, right? I crashed out, right? But the positive, I just decided to go home for the day because it burnt me out. So, you know, the positive is that I could just turn the app off and go home. Feels like morally wrong because it is like income that people can depend on, and like that's where like the emotion comes in. That's really why I crashed out, you know, because it's like, do I take this so that I can have a better income? Which, you know, income's very important to keep yourself alive. So with jobs, you get all like the standard job benefits of like you get your coworkers, you get your little family, and on the DoorDash side, it is a bit lonely unless you're like making connections with the
Nope. I still have no clue what I'm doing with this one little spot here.
What's the cost of freedom?
Is there anything that DoorDash or one of these apps could do that would actually make you go back?
I guess it would be like guaranteed pay, something where I could have like at least a minimum that I'm gonna get paid. For DoorDash, you could go out there for 3 hours and make like $5. So, well, technically 6. You could go out there and make like $6 or something if you got 3 no-tip orders and it took you 3 hours to get 3 deliveries and no one tipped.
Do you think that DoorDash is here to stay, and like these apps are here to stay, or do you think their days are numbered?
That's an opinionated question.
Well, this is
no, that's good. That's good. It's just hard to think about. That's like a future thought, you know. I've seen them testing out drones in some places, so I don't know that, but you know, you can't have a drone in a thunderstorm. So.
Did you get tipped more on Domino's, DoorDash, or Papa John's? Like, what did your tips look like? What's the difference?
Yeah, it's hard to say, really. I do think, I feel like people generally tip less on DoorDash. I do know for sure that like Domino's, I've gotten like plenty of 10 and up, and like DoorDash, I can kind of like count on one hand how many times I've been tipped more than like $6.
How many pizzas have you eaten approximately since you've been working for Domino's?
So there was a good period where probably like a year or so where I would just go in there, and some of my favorite insiders, I'd be like, hey, small pepperoni sausage, and then it was just sit down and devour the whole thing every day. Definitely hundreds maybe thousands
of pizzas.
Yep.
Okay. Haha. Man, wasn't that informative. With these apps actively hurting consumers, restaurants, and gig workers, it makes you wonder, what is the future of delivery really going to look like? Back in April 2020, DoorDash launched its convenience category, offering more than just food. Uber followed in March 2021, and before long, nearly every delivery app had added non-food deliveries to their platform. Booze, pet food, toilet paper, cold medicine, you name it. In yet another attempt to finally become profitable, these apps expanded into groceries and everyday essentials. But by doing that, they woke up a giant, Amazon. Technically, Amazon has been dabbling in groceries since 2007, when it launched Amazon Fresh. But things didn't really take off until 2017 when Amazon bought Whole Foods for $13.7 billion. Since then, Amazon has been slowly and quietly building out a full grocery delivery empire with specialized warehouses, temperature-controlled fulfillment centers, and one of the most efficient logistic networks in the world. And in August of this year, Amazon officially started rolling out same-day delivery of fresh food to more than 1,000 US cities and towns, with plans to reach at least 2,300 locations by the end of the year. For Prime members, the service is free on orders over $25 in most cities. If your order doesn't hit that minimum, it's just $2.99. That's the key difference. Unlike paying service fees with DoorDash or Uber Eats, Amazon has Prime. You know, that subscription people keep for Thursday night football, streaming crappy movies, and of course, free 2-day shipping. With over 200 million Prime members already on board, layering in grocery delivery was basically a no-brainer. Fast, essentially free delivery from a company that already has your credit card on file, that's a competitive advantage. And while Amazon takes a chunk of the grocery segment, the rest of the delivery space is starting to wobble. Grubhub is arguably the best example of a delivery app in decline. The company still isn't.
You know, it's kind of weird. I have not heard the name Grubhub in so long, years. Like whenever I think, whenever even like, okay, for example, like last Thanksgiving, I immediately went to Uber Eats and then DoorDash to try and find the restaurant I wanted.
Grubhub deceptively advertises that consumers can place delivery orders online for free, but then charges consumers fees on those orders at checkout. In the same lawsuit, it's also alleged Grubhub rigged its search results, meaning when users searched Chinese food near me, they didn't see the best reviewed spots. They saw the ones paying Grubhub the most. With all these lawsuits and bad PR, some go as far to say the food delivery bubble is finally bursting. But personally, I don't think that's the case. While Grubhub might be having major issues and maybe their days are numbered, DoorDash, on the other hand, despite the lawsuits, the markups, and the driver complaints, is winning. And if I had to guess, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. They now control about 67% of the US food delivery market, and like I mentioned earlier, they're finally profitable, which means the exploitative system worked. That's the hard truth here. DoorDash squeezed restaurants, underpaid drivers, tacked on junk fees for customers, and somehow came out on top. They've proven something bleak. You can build a sustainable business on unsustainable practices, as long as you're the last one standing. They're winning, and dare I say won. So what does that mean for the rest of us? Well, here's the thing. If DoorDash continues to dominate food delivery and Amazon keeps expanding its grocery empire, we're headed toward a future where just a few mega platforms control how food gets to your door. And that kind of consolidation rarely works out for workers, small businesses, or consumers in the long run. But the convenience of these apps is real. People rely on them, especially disabled folks, parents, caretakers, or anyone who's just burned out and trying to survive on a Tuesday. That said, just because these apps are convenient doesn't mean we should blindly accept the system behind them. If you care about supporting local restaurants, check if they have their own delivery ordering system. Many do. Or try platforms that charge less predatory fees on restaurants. Chow Now and Slice are two that I've been told are better for restaurants. And then finally, if you're a delivery driver, if this work is working for you, that's great. Seriously, get your bag. I get the allure of being able to make your own schedule and work whenever. But like with everything in life, it's always worth exploring other options if possible. Some restaurants, especially pizza chains or local spots, might actually offer better pay and more stability. And you don't have to take my word for it. Take someone who's actually done this for 8 years.
I love my job really a lot. So like, well, I like driving, I like music, and I like pizza, right? So it's kind of the perfect concoction. I get free food kind of a lot. I would call delivering food the best low-skill job, because driving is a skill, but it's not exactly like, doesn't really take you that long to become decently good enough that you can deliver food. I would say it's the best work to income ratio, where I'm generally doing like not that much. I just get to listen to podcasts or just listen to music and enjoy my alone time in the car.
Thank you so much for watching, and a huge shout out to all my Patreon supporters.
If it's any consolation, I'm not sleeping.
Thanks so much, everybody, and until
I'm
next
playing
time,
with
bye-bye.
yarn. I don't know where to go next. Well, you know what? Doesn't even matter. The sooner I think it's done, the sooner I can do anything else.
Students memorize over 2,000 kanji characters and retain them for life. So, what's their secret?
Your teacher never told you this, but the reason you forget isn't a lack of effort.
The
It's the
Lokinistako
method
says.
you've been using.
Very true.
Traditional study
At first I would listen to this video very
techniques make
actively.
entire paragraphs feel productive, but your brain treats them like background noise, tuning them out just like an Instagram ad you scroll past. Be honest. How many times have you stayed up late, highlighting page after page only to go blank in the exam?
Yeah, I've never highlighted anything.
It's neuroscience. There's something called the forgetting curve, and it's the silent destroyer of everything you learn. Within 24 hours, your brain dumps almost everything. By day 3, only a few traces remain. But what if you could hack your brain and break this cycle? Japanese students have been doing it for centuries, not by studying harder, but by studying smarter. You don't need to read 400 to 500 pages of research papers. I've already done the spade work for you. Here are 5 science-backed hacks they've used to master learning, without spending endless hours buried in books. Let's break them down one by one. 1. Active recall. The samurai approach.
Why is like the music so
Most people focus on input, reading,
dramatic?
watching, highlighting, but memory strengthens through output. Think of it like training a muscle. Every time you force your brain to retrieve information,
Alright, I'm not gonna be able to listen to this.
not failing. You're reinforcing those
The Lokinistako says. Oh, the drama AAA.
And like every time he says something, it goes ding. I think I'm gonna skip to the Markiplier video I have here.
Welcome back to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Because I don't want something I want to pay attention to playing.
Danger, about to die, about to have our guts ripped out and replaced with other animatronic parts. But what else is new in a Five Nights at Freddy's game? If it wasn't that, I wouldn't know what I was doing with myself. Did I read this energy quota? No, I read that already.
Okay, I'm tempted to like take a look at his neck.
Many presents, but we've gotten a lot of respect from the animatronics. So there's something that I can do here for the energy system. Oh, I guess it didn't do this. All right, access time.
Let's see.
Okay, that's what it was. All right, so now that I got that, I can go in here, and I'm pretty sure fight the nurse a little bit. Not that there's a whole lot of fighting that ever happens at Five Nights at Freddy's.
Pretty sure I got this.
There's a little bit.
Do this part of the video already.
Some shoving involved. Go straight to a gas. Right here.
You can begin laying off the sorting staff as more dolly tracks are installed throughout the lower level.
You'd be surprised at how it soaks in flavors.
Oh. Huh? Where'd it go? Hey, my piece. Did I go there? I don't even know. Please don't sneak up behind me and murder me. Please. Oh, shit. Do I need the other ones? I probably do.
Mostly like I'm really tempted to like clean it up and try to hide like scars.
Gotta be more. Somewhere in here. Okay, you're over. Don't get me. Woo. What is this? It's fucking loud. That's what that is. What the hell? Oh, is there a piece in there? I bet there is. Okay, crank yank this open. Okay, you're over there. Grab this. Sneak. Fool. Good thing there's
Music is
across the
interesting.
covers that are running. Okay. Not exactly sure where this is supposed to go. Maybe here? Seems. Oh. Is that right? Yep. Okay, where are you? Okay, you're over there. I bet in that back corner where Chica just was, that's where I need to go. Go quick. Nice. Alright, this is good. What in the fuck? I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, am I done? Is that it? Am I done? Wasn't really much of a confirmatory clunk. What in the oh, you, what the fuck? Holy shit, what is happening? What? Stop. Stop.
Win to win.
Stop. Stop. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ooh. Okay, okay, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're so fine. We're so fine. We're so fine. God, we're good. Ah! No, 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 yes! You didn't see nothing, pal. Nothing. What, me? A whole lot of nothing over here? That's what I thought. That's right, go that way. I'm free. I'm free. Slam. Wham? Slam. Whoa, bam. No, all the way, please. Nope. Yeah, okay, there we go. Well, this is an unexpected surprise! Did I do it? Sure looks like I did it. Is it done? It looks done. Is it? Oh, is that what that is? Is the trolley time? Is that what that? Is that what that is now? Do I go there and I go up and down? Is that what that did? Is it like an elevator? It's an elevator. It is exactly like an elevator. That is what it is. Love this music. Yippee dippy doo-dah. Yippee dippy day. Hey, don't come over here for a bit. I'm doing some private stuff. Real private stuff. Really private. Like full frontal and full rear roll. You know what I mean? So don't come over here. That's what I thought. I love V1 Chica. I also think it's funny how they don't look like animatronics. They legitimately all look like a dude where... Ow! My stop! Wait, was that even... Did that even work? Was that even what I was supposed to...
Oh, you can't even fucking barely see it.
That must have been. Why else would it go up and down? I must have just not been paying attention. Oh,
Whatever.
over here. Must be this...
I guess you'll only know it exists if you watch the stream.
Yeah. What? Oh, it is. It is. That doesn't seem safe.
Well, I can add another one. Toodle's double whammied by vampires.
Oh, I can't see what I'm even blocked by. Well, that looks fun in there. Okay.
The Lockinistaco says, LOL.
I don't know. I want to sell him. I'd probably get nothing though.
Fine, whatever. No. Grab it. Hey, is that a secret path? This seems like a secret path. Okay. Alright, okay.
And what did you win? Error. No prize available.
Hey, but wait a minute. Hey. Hey, but...
You should join the major leagues.
Hey, but there was a... Oh, but I... Hey, wait.
You there. Step right up and smack a clown.
Oh, was I just supposed to go?
Step right up.
Oh.
Ready.
Well, I love doing this again. So now I go. Ooh, made it. Hey, what do you mean? What do you mean? You're so sad. I'm not sad, I'm glad. Look how glad I am. See? You're jealous of how happy I am and will be in my future once I get this. Hi. Bye. Finally, a present. I haven't got one of these in a bit. Oh, David! Who's David? Who's David? Alright. Why do I gotta go back? This seems silly and redundant when there's cool stuff that I could go to right there!
Step right up and smack a clown.
I'm gonna smack you very hard.
Step right up and smack a clown. Knock knock out the clown's teeth and win a prize.
That's what you get. All right, can I put this somewhere? This isn't real. Can I put this somewhere? Why did I come up here? All right, whatever, my ride's here. I can't go this way because there's something invisible blocking me. I can't go this way. It's a simple, stupid square, and I can't go there. Dumb. My ride! No! Probably that way. Probably the loading bay. I would imagine it's the loading bay. Definitely seems like it should be the loading bay. You can't catch me! You can't. Why do you sound like that? Ugh. Alright, anyway. Did I get any mail? I don't even think I got any mail out of that. Oh, anyway, alright. So that'll do it for this episode. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. I don't know how far I am from this, but given that the clock, when I was talking to my boss, the Mimic, it said it was 3. And if I know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's, you gotta stay up real late to win. I guess I'm about halfway through. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye! Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier, and welcome back to Five Nights at Freddy's: Secret of the Mimic. Well, hi. How you doing? What are you doing over here? You dancing? Oh my God, she's dancing. She's rumbling. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I'm not gonna gun it. That would be stupid. Don't gun. Ooh, well, I'm gunning it. No, I'm not gunning it fast enough. Well. All right, good thing that she's not very nimble on the roller skates, that's for sure. All right, she's over there. Try to go the back way. Okay, that was good. Okay, she's going over there. All right, so let me look over here. See, yeah. At least there's a light over here. Oh, no, wait, over here.
Botrix says, YouTube chat check.
Oh, yeah.
Might be that button.
Apparently Ghost of Yote is releasing at midnight tonight. Is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
Is there a lean button?
Which, since I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima.
Alright, fine. Nothing. Don't need it. I'm better than that. Okay, I think the reason she's hanging out there so much is it's kind of guarding exactly where I need to be. So let me do this. Oh my God, yeah. There we go. Go faster. Here. Ooh. Okay, we're through. Whoa, what in the hell? Okay. I don't know what this new area is, but it seems fun. Hey, a message.
Look, I get your concerns. I do. But they're all just around us. This is the perfect spot for David's playground. I can watch him play while I'm loading and unloading freight, and he'll be under watch at all times. The loading dock is like 200 feet away, and there's a fence and everything. I know you're my lawyer and all, but there's no regulation that says I can't have it there, so just get off my back. Besides, David loves the new slide. It'll be fine.
Nothing goes together like Five Nights at Freddy's, animatronics, and bad parenting. That is kind of the status quo of all of this. All right, so I am in the loading bay right now, otherwise known as Dave's play place. What in the fuck? Hey. Oh, I'm compelled. I can't not. Oh, God. You know, I don't know why I feel compelled to do that, but I do. I will say, you know, I know that it seems like I've been somewhat critical of this game, but in all honesty, I do like the design, the charm, the humor of it. The writing is nice. Animatronic design is nice, even though they don't feel quite like animatronics. But all of it is like, it's quality. It really is quality. And Steel Wool is like a studio has come very far. Not saying they were bad before, but the games did lack a certain amount of polish. I say as I just get a stutter. More my hardware than anything. What can a 4090 really do anyway? Alright, group chat 3. Why are we turning down work? The floats have been doing really well, Ed's modular system is groundbreaking, and now he wants to shut the whole thing down. He just sits in his office talking to that thing. I have no clue what to do. What thing? He's talking about the mimic? Some kind of mimic over here? Alright, let's see, what else do we have? That kind of falls off over there. Let me see. I don't think there would be anything over here. No present, no nothing like that. I also think it's very interesting. This is one of the few horror games where you don't have a flashlight. And I think that's a very purposeful choice. And as I refuse to make anything ever bright, I think it's nice. I like not having a flashlight. Okay, I'm trying to see what even I could move. That looks like it has a handle. There's a present there that potentially I could move things towards. There's a handle there. The smashers are there, but it also has a platform there where it technically could move them. I might be able to move those things, but it just seems like a grabber, so I'm assuming that they're all kind of part of the same system, and that those would go together, no matter what they are. So I think I have to build a platform that's going to get me where I need to go, but it's out of these Lego pieces. So there is a spot where that currently is, so let's do the first one. Okay, we're gonna do... Nope, that's not what I meant. Not what I meant. Okay, we're gonna go right. Okay. Gonna go back. I think we gotta go back. Let me try that. Okay, so I have this. Okay, so this is gonna go... It's probably a situation where I gotta really jangle these pieces. So I'm gonna set that there for now, because I don't think I can even move this other one unless this other one's out of the way. So I gotta move this first. Out of the way. I bet this actually has to go up in that top right corner. Whoa! Well, that's fun. I'm gonna put you aside for now. Stick you right there. And I'm gonna take a look at this thing. Alright. So the only reason that started working is because it was connected via those lights to this power strip. So they have to be connected in that way before they can do anything else. And also, I think I screwed myself by putting that there. Oh, I think the reason that they have this above here is so I can actually get a bird's eye view of everything. That's probably why. Okay, so if I want to go over there... Brain, activate! Okay, so there's an exit over there, which means that that piece should probably go there if I wanted to go that way. If I want to go that way, I'm going to have to... I should be able to connect those there, unless that doesn't have a connector on the other side. I think it does. Wait, it might be that easy. Hold on, it might be that easy. So what I have to do is I have to move this out of the way first, even though that seems crazy. But in order to get this other one down where it needs to be, this one has to be somewhere else. Just trust me on this one, just trust me. You're gonna have to trust me. So that's the only way that I can get that out of there, so that I can bring this one. Shockingly, that one has power now. That's interesting. Wait a minute. Why does that one have power? What is that connected to? Well, obviously I can't go that way, so now I need to get... Yeah. For anyone that says this isn't the most efficient way to do this, you're actually wrong and incredibly incorrect. It's astonishing how incorrect you are. But it's understandable. You know, it's surprising, but your incorrectness always surprised me. Just like my genius always seems to surprise you guys. It's understandable. Okay, so this is gonna go down here, right there. You go back over this way. I like this. I like seeing things like this where it's a small interface and you're manipulating things that are working in a larger span. There's probably a specific type of gameplay that you could call that, but I don't know. I just like it. Feels fun. Okay, how the hell do I do this? So I just, excuse me, don't mind me. Oh my god. Alright. Whoop. Oh god. Uh-huh. Okay, I gotta time that. Yep. Go run, please. Oh my god. I gotta redo all that? Oh, man. I thought I could make it through both of them at the same time, but I got... Sometimes the toggle run... Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you. Yeah, sometimes the run after you're, you know, not running won't quite work right. Okay. Alright. I'm going. Hey, yeah, there we go. Alright. This is gonna be worth it because I've definitely gotten all the other ones, and collecting them at this point is great. A nurse kit. Yo! Can I go under them? I probably could, but I don't know if that's just gonna lead me to a non-return because I can't exactly jump. Oh god, I'm stuck on a baby bottle. Oh god, I'm stuck on everything. Ah, why no? Donk! Donk! Donk? Really? Oh. Hey, I'm not gonna complain. Hey, what? Alright. Yeah! Alright. Okay, progress. Good, I guess. I don't know. Alright, so I got that. I know I should go back into that minigame, but I really haven't gotten many of those things. Alright, so simple. Now, I'm not 100% sure if I need to go to the top left or the top right, but the top right only seems to go to a place with another control system like this. But, I mean, I am curious. I just want to see what's over in the top right, because the top left seems like the exit, which would make perfect sense, but gotta be something else. Okay. That should get me over to the top right. Whether that's actually helpful, I don't know. Whoa! My god! It's such a badonk! Oh, this is fun. Okay, is that gonna kill me instantly? Probably. Go, please. Go, please. Oh my god. Go, what the fuck? Ah! There we go. Just fine. I don't know if these are super dangerous, but they look dangerous. Alright, I'm up here now. Yippee! Wahoo! Oh, film! Film! The useful film! Film! Okay, so I gotta put this back in the inventory, because I can't carry it. Which means I gotta get all the way back there in one fell swoop. Come on, lift your goddamn tootsie. I bet I could just drop. Can I just drop, please? Could I please drop? Please drop. Ah, what kind of what? Huh? What the fuck? What got me? Where? What the fuck? What? That scared the bejesus out of me. Alright, come on. Go. Don't donk me. It must have been like it had death activated as it was going up. I gotta wait or something? I don't know. Ran into the tooth and it was like, no. Oh, why is that? Oh, I thought the door was open. Yeah. Into the inventory. I think I have another one in there that I gotta bring to the other place. Yo. Can I just go? It really looks like I could just... Alright, fine. Not sure what kind of manufacturing this can do. Or... Oh, no, these are parade floats. Aren't they parade floats / manufacturing? I don't know. Alright, so...
Oh shit, I hope I saved that. It should have saved.
I guess it's just another way to do it. Okay, but...
Yeah.
So I need to put that one over there. Alright, give me a second. You know why I can't...
I don't know, I think I should probably end stream.
That's an excuse for everything in this game. Everything's a hallucination. I'm sleep deprived, because otherwise I would just go hop. But you know, we can't all have parkour. Not when you're this tired.
The lock in a stacko says.
Down there. Oh well, I'll never know.
No opinions on the matter.
The lock in a stacko says.
Don't squash
Go get some sleep. The lock in a stacko says. Great work was done.
Yeah, you still haven't helped me decide my exact PC specs decisions, blah blah blah.
The lock in a stacko says. I mean, I'm enjoying sitting here eat you butt.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Yeah, well, I need to go brush my teeth.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm making good progress. I did the hair. What's left?
Do you still want to do it tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna go brush my teeth, get some water.
Or tomorrow.
No, very nice. If I'm still awake in 10 minutes, I gotta write notes on some stuff. But anyway, things that are needed to complete this drawing: the ear and wing markings. Clean up his face a little, but not a lot. I can't do fancy faces. And then the shading, just like clean that up a little bit. Not a lot. Just I like the vibe. This gives like the murdery vibe, to be honest. But
And I love you for it.
The Lokinestaco says.
You need to step
So
back
very
a little
close.
and focus on one project.
I'm pretty close.
Were you talking to me? Personally?
That'll be fun.
I'm trying. I wish I could. You don't understand the weight.
And then I just gotta do like a million more of these.
Definitely got THR murdery vibe. It's awesome.
I gotta work through every type of drawing and do one so I have a portfolio.
Anyway, so that's difficult because how the hell?
Alright, another 2 hours in.
Cat. Okay, that's fine.
The Lokinestaco says. Go brush your teeth, tomorrow will be more portfolio.
That sounds like a hint or something, and I need to explore it first because it's really making me not want to explore it. Where's this go? Showrooms. Welcome show? I wish I had a map. Oh, wait, welcome show. Is that all the way at the beginning? Is this that other door that goes to the beginning? There's another door that's in one of the opening areas that had this. Fascinating.
Oh no, tomorrow I will finish this. And then I'll play Bayonetta. Okay, and then I'll decide on my next drawing. Okay.
The Lokinestaco says. Whoa.
Alright, well that's good.
Good night to all, especially since Twitch apparently says I have 3 viewers. 4 viewers, which is amazing. But I must now say good night. Oh, good night. Tomorrow I will even promise a song.
GNNN.
Today was me feeling very betrayed by my voice. That's almost every day. Good night.